Good evening, good evening. I'm joining you in a vague state of strange, is it happiness? I'm joined by, well, it says Ryan, but it's David for now. And they've just been at the match. Unfortunately, I'd spaffed away a lot of my pre-season money going to daft games here and there, Roma and Preston, and didn't opt for the ever elusive League Cup. But these two, ever the hopeful optimists, went to Goodison tonight. Thank you, everyone, for joining us as we react to Everton's first registered and recognised incidences of playing football.
We're going to win the lot. We're going to win the lot. How are you doing that? Yeah. Drop the phone.
Hey, Taz, that was a bit better. David, well, don't know. Some of us seem to think that that it's an orchestrated plan by Sean and his team to do something. But yeah, so what do you think, David?
Well, it was better. Well, it was better in the second half anyway. The first half was a little bit boring. Everton flattered to deceive. Everton get close. You know, they got deflection and stuff. They got near to the goal. Beto worked really hard, but the rest of the players in that first half, they really struggled against that Doncaster side. Second half, obviously, kind of stepped up a bit. You know, few moments of quality really that took them over the line, and some nice passages of play from Everton that you don't usually see from them, working it through from bottom to top. But yeah, they basically scored 3 good bits of quality for once, and the general play, you know, it's never going to be revolutionary better than it is on a normal Saturday, and don't get excited that it's going to be any better coming weeks, but we've got to see some of this quality. Like Ndiaye's goal, that second goal, he basically takes on 2 men, beats them both, and slots it past the keeper. I don't know.
That was also my thinking, because as you say, we seemed very pedestrian in the first half, and I almost lost hope that the second half. Okay, yeah, 3-0, as you say, flatters to deceive, or it is a very flattering scoreline when you consider that we had a moment. Iroegbunam took that shot, and maybe it did take a flick off McNeil, and it would have been on target. Maybe the keeper was wrong-footed. I don't know. It's a good shot, opportunistic. The second goal was Ndiaye, who drove into the box because he had a bit of open space, and a defender or a Doncaster player was wrong-footed, and it sort of opened up and he drove in, and it came off the post, didn't it? And then Beto, there was sort of sustained pressure. I know it's very easy to constantly criticise, but I wouldn't say that there was an overwhelming. It wasn't a whitewash. It wasn't an overwhelming vote of confidence in as a litmus for the future for the Premier League. Do you?
Yeah, it's definitely the important thing is we not just the fact we won, but we won and scored 3 goals. I think if we'd won by 1 goal, I think we would have walked away feeling okay, but just not any more optimistic. When you see we managed to put 3 past them, that's what we should be doing against a side in their division. No disrespect to them, but we should be, and we did. So yeah. Everton, I don't know. The worrying thing is there still doesn't seem to be any sort of game plan or tactics about Everton's, the way they set up. It's like we just choose the players that he wants to play and see how he get on and go out.
It seems that although as you say, there were moments of good joined-up play, and there were moments where we capitalised and we put it away, that there didn't seem to be any sort of consistent game plan of, okay, we're going to push and pressure and play it across the back and hem in and overload the defence, or we're going to play on a counter, or we're going to play across the wings, or drive through the middle and overlap, channels. It's just a very much like, okay, a ragtag bunch of you guys can play football. We'll meet up and play on Sunday. Or I'm oversimplifying it, but there are certain vibes to it, isn't there?
Unfortunately, yeah, and I think especially this season that's gone a little bit stale for my liking, and I'm worried that's where we're losing a bit of hope when I don't see the plan. I think Dyche is known for wanting to play a sort of high press football. He plays the high press, and then you back off if you don't win the ball back within a few seconds. I'm not seeing that consistently. He's gone off that since last season, and I think that was highly effective against Doncaster when we did it. But it's like we're trying to conserve energy, not pressing against them, because they'll just give you the ball back when you press Doncaster.
Evening, Richo.
Evening.
Yeah, I mean, Wormy seems to say that Dyche had no tactics, but there's some here that I would agree with. Flash the Original says Dixon, Armstrong, and Ndiaye, Bomb, O'Brien, and Lindstrom.
But
Who's Bomb?
is he saying they were?
Oh, Iroegbunam. Um, okay. I mean, some of those I agree with. Some of those I think.
I think there'll be a lot of talk. There'll be a lot of talk about the new signings, obviously, because it was their first game to see them in action, and you can hear the crowd are rumbling. The problem is the crowd want to see the new signings, but as soon as they make a mistake, they're on their back. So you can't really.
Yeah, but it's almost like though. I mean, forgive me for wrong. I'm not a gatekeeper of all support, but it seems that we do have a history. We have a mentality of, okay, a new signing. We want to see you get stuck in. We don't care if you're not necessarily up to speed with the tactics, but know your job, know the fundamentals, but show heart and give effort.
Yeah, that's definitely what you get from Iroegbunam. But
quick question, lads. You're in the car. How much is a Freddo these days?
There's going to be a substitution in the Everton window, and unfortunately it's not a new centre forward. It's Ryan's coming in because I've got to get back to London tonight, so I've got to drive back. But Ryan's going to be taking over.
See you later.
Thanks for taking me. See you, Jan.
So, yes. How anything more to comment on the game? I mean, I don't think it's fair to.
Lots to comment
on Doncaster. What?
Lots to comment. Guys, by the way, thanks for doing this, Jan, and welcome Lila, Wormy, and all those wonderful people, Flash, Eugene, Peter, Tazzle, Brian. So many people watching this, nearly 200. Thank you so much. Hi, George. The first 45, I mean, first of all, let's talk about the team. The team was the right team. He couldn't win this game, if that made sense. It was a lose-lose situation for him. If it goes wrong, everyone's on his back. If we win, everyone's saying, well, we should be beating them. They're only Doncaster. Have you just froze or have I froze?
No.
They are a League Two team. So the standard really of the opposition we were playing in pre-season and really struggling against. So it was no surprise that even with a very strong team, which included the club captain, all the new signings, that for 45 minutes, they looked like a bunch of strangers who hadn't actually played a game of football together. Really, Beto was the one who wanted to make something happen with his aggression, his tenacity and his work rate. But then you looked at the likes of Mykolenko, really poor. The two centre-backs, I couldn't tell them apart. I didn't know which one was Keane and which one was...
Well, the thing, hang on, you say that about Mykolenko being poor, and I do think that, again, there's other elements.
You've improved. Sorry, it's first half.
Yeah, okay.
It's just the first half. Then you had Lindstrom, who was really struggling. He was getting out-muscled and he didn't know where to be. The midfield, James Garner giving it away, looked off the pace. McNeil on the left, his delivery was poor. Ndiaye was struggling to find space. So it was a difficult first half, Jan. And I went in at half time, I was thinking, surely not. We'll get this over the line. We did get it over the line. The first goal was the goal which Lindstrom, who had improved in the second half, takes the ball on the right, and rather than just aimlessly punting it into the box, pulls it back to a player in space, a bit like Tottenham did the other night. And albeit the finish wasn't quite the level of Basuma, but it looked like Tim Iroegbunam hits it really nicely into the bottom corner. And does McNeil kind of steal the goal? He looks like it deflects.
I don't even know if it makes contact. It could be the kind of thing that is misdirection, wrong-footed to keeper, or it could have just flicked it slightly further into the corner. You never know. I don't know.
The second goal, and by the way, the actual tactical change to put Ndiaye on the left gave him more space. I don't quite understand why someone like Danjuma didn't get more of a chance, because that was a Danjuma-y type goal. You can argue,
but it does make you wonder.
Yeah.
No, sorry, carry on.
Oh.
Okay, well, Ryan's discussing the sort of tactical changes, and I do think that, well, from the off, it was going to be difficult for us to have asserted dominance from the off, because I still think there's a fundamental problem or something lacking in the team, in that we don't have that. We don't make our presence known on the pitch. We're almost passive in whatever game we play.
We wanted to make... Well, actually, to be honest with you, I thought Doncaster had a lot more possession than I was expecting in that first half. Doncaster were very much in the game, and Everton really weren't controlling it. There were moments where we tried to control it, but I felt we showed them too much respect. We were too deep. You know, I want to see those two centre-halves right pushed up, but, you know, the second half, it did change. We got that goal. You felt there was only going to be one winner, but actually, Doncaster had a chance from very close range where they played around us. It's Garner who gives the ball away. Ndiaye, to Iroegbunam, who then plays a terrible pass, and it's intercepted by Doncaster. They turn it over, and they should score. Pickford saves from about 5 yards out. It should be 1-1. And then I think Everton go 2-0. The goal was the Ndiaye goal, where a lot of Everton players in that position kind of will hit an aimless cross, will go back out wide. Or they will kind of do nothing with it, but he drove with the ball. He took two players on, and you know what? And even he was selfish. I love the fact he was selfish, Jan, and he slotted it under the keeper. And
It's not. I wouldn't necessarily call it being selfish. It's not being selfish. It's being
Premier. It's what you need.
Initiative. Showing initiative. I'd like to say thank you, Amanda. It is appreciated, and Ryan will be giggling like a schoolgirl.
Thank you so much, Amanda, and she's a premium member as well. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Amanda. The goal, by the way, Ndiaye grew into the game. He looked a bit like a cross between Steven Pienaar and Kevin Morales. You know, the look and the feel of Pienaar, but with the little kind of the dynamism of Morales. I really like. I think he's going to be good when he builds up that confidence and gets the speed. Big shoes to fill, but. You know, he could be a good player. The third goal, Jan, I want to really touch on. You know, the style.
No, I'm sorry. Goal, you sent me off into cloud cuckoo like dreamland there. I was just picturing the beautiful triumvirate of like Baines, Pienaar, Osman.
Absolutely. And our new VIP. I don't know whether Amanda's had a VIP membership for a while, but Amanda, thank you so much. Nice to see Beto scoring. We'll come on to that. Jan, the third goal. Really nice goal, wasn't it? You've got McNeil picking the ball up in a central position on his left foot, of course, slots it in behind to Mykolenko, who's running beyond their opposition fullback, which never happens. He was high and ready to do a Baines. It was a Baines. Puts it across on the plate, and Beto nods it in. Nice goal.
It was a lovely goal. Yeah. But the thing is, you want to kind of see more joined up play to kind of assert that dominance more in the game. Like I said, you know, we didn't have the possession in the first half, and it's a bit concerning. You know, there's still some. I don't want to be the booing. Like Lila's point, you know, Lila's been saying we got a win, we got a clean sheet, we got some goals. It's an experiment in tactics, was it? You get to see some integration and new players maybe getting them up to speed for fitness. Okay, cool. Does it add to our survival? Are we going to springboard and push on, against, well, anyone? Because it does become worrying, as you say, that if we enter that game, I don't want to be eggshell fine. To enter the first half, to enter half time going, well, we're 0-0. You know, what were you thinking at half time?
I was bored and I kind of wanted to get to the second half to see if we could change it.
If we could, or thinking that we would?
I wanted to see a couple of substitutions. I was thinking I'd like to see Roman Dixon on, but I thought Coleman was the best of kind of the non-strikers, if that made sense. the non-outfield attacking players. He was good. So there wasn't the call for the Dixon move at that point. You know, I can't really fault what Dyche did in terms of he went with a strong team. He gave players minutes. You know, he got Dixon involved again. He gave Armstrong some minutes. I'm glad he didn't bring on Neil Mopey. I want to shoot the guy. I think he's a gobshite. I'm also glad he didn't bring in Holgate because I think he's going to be out. And Calvert-Lewin are just pointless. We've got to see what Beto can do. So he was rewarded with the goal. Jack Harrison, when he came on, though, didn't do much better than Jesper Lindstrom, really, in all honesty. In fact, I think he did worse. But the other
do you worry that Lindstrom's a bit too lightweight? You know,
just needs time. I think he just needs
literally
time.
and metaphorically.
You know, if you sit in the park end and you look at the players, it's hard to tell the difference between some of them. O'Brien and Michael Keane look very similar. James Garner and Lindstrom looked very similar. From a distance, I'm saying you sometimes can't tell who's who. But you know, there's nothing in this match that's going to make you think you're going to go and beat Bournemouth because it's a completely different level of opposition. But it was nice to go to Goodison and see 3 goals of a goal outside the box from a nice pullback rather than just panicking and hitting it to no one. A goal where he beats a defender 1v1, runs through and slots. Yeah. And the third goal, a fullback getting in behind beyond the winger and pulling it back for a striker to score. 3 lovely goals, and that deserves to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. But apart from that, Jan, we could be a pack of shit the next game because you've got to take it, you know, for what it was. Doncaster gave us a really good game. They also, Jan, should have scored that goal from the set piece, from the corner. Free header, number 5. They could have scored 2, at least. They did really well.
I mean, yeah, it's like I said, sometimes there's no... Okay, you play football. Anyone out there playing football, folks that when you've played in teams or when you do coaching, or just your own takeaway is you have faith in yourself, you have faith in those around you, like whether it's your partner or the person that you know is going to cover your position in certain situations. If you go on the offensive, if you get an overload of players, it's who you push out and who slots into the middle, all these kind of things. It's knowing that, hey, I'm here on the pitch, the ball is there, I can rely on this person, that person. Now, there's no intuitive foundation. It appears to me when we watch the football, it's like it's people sort of go to look round to double check that, oh God, is this player here? Or it's just, I can't put my finger, I can't explain it, right? But sometimes there's a period in the match when the ball gets played across the left and you're thinking, okay, it's got hung over here, but it's because the left back, I think it was, or the left winger is running back, and yeah, it was Ndiaye, I believe it was. He was offside. It got called for offside, and you're thinking, well, why isn't the you know what? I'm cherry picking instances because I can't give you generally, but it's so frustrating to think we're playing this kind of play, and where the one time there is an advantageous ball, the person who needs to be switched on is switched off. And I'm not singling players out; it's just all the time. Like when the ball got played across the box, and then it went all the way over. Beto stretched and missed it, and then it got played back in. And who was it? Was it Lindstrom? Wasn't following it up at full speed because he was staying back, and there's just a constant disconnect.
Yeah, I mean, that was more evident in the first half, let's be honest. Let's give them some credit for the second half. There was an intent and there was a game plan in the second half, and that was really to try and get in behind them. You know, we don't do things like try and overload the wings to get in behind full opposition to create crossing opportunities. We don't seem to, when we do launch it to Beto, he's almost got to hold a defender off and turn on his own. There's not really 3 or 4 players buzzing around him.
I'm wondering, do you think we've designed a style of play that was meant to utilise DCL as being the spearhead of our attack, and then he's gone off the boil, had injuries, his head's not in it, or he wants out, or whatever, and now we're sort of in limbo with a plans for a sort of game plan or tactics that's geared towards people that aren't even there?
We've changed though, because Everton used to be all about get the striker the ball and create chances for him, whereas now the striker's role has changed to being more of a focal point to try and bring others into play. But really, we need to turn the attention back onto getting players creating chances for the striker and getting them to finish. We did that with the Beto one. But, you know, I'm not sure the style of play. I don't know what it is. It's almost like, the goals just come out of nowhere and you don't expect them, and then all of a sudden we score.
But that's what I'm saying, because to me that doesn't fill me with confidence, because if we're pulling 3 goals out of our asses against a team that are 3 divisions lower than us, or, well,
Yeah, exactly.
TBC.
League Two. They're a lot worse. You know, that's the thing, though. I wasn't convinced that we'd have won that game had we started with a B squad. You know, they were competitive. There's a lot of people in the comments talking about DCL and lots of different things. We're not going to have time for that tonight, unfortunately. I know there is over 300 people watching, and if you haven't already subscribed, smash that subscribe button. And Jan and Chad did their pre-match show, which was really good. Before Jan, we were listening in the car on the way to the match, smashing. But there's people saying things like papering over the cracks. Amanda's saying she wants this team to be played in the Prem. Which team was that? The one that started or the one that finished?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to speak on someone else's behalf, but that's the bit that makes sense to me. Yeah.
So now that Young and Coleman are back in at right back for Bournemouth, do you just think he'll start with that sort of same team that started that game?
Iroegbunam's got design. Okay, what I'd like to see is to think that the team have enough cohesion and ability and confidence in each other that we could see Pickford, Dixon, O'Brien, Tarkowski, whoever at left back, Mikolenko. Yeah, there we go. Sorry. And then see the likes of Ndiaye, Iroegbunam, Lindstrom, and players that are going to step up. I don't know if James Garner needs to step up to Idrissa Gana-Gueye, who is on a decline. And whether that means because they as who was it who said the young players. It was good, refreshing. Somebody just said it was Gary said our new players are like a breath of fresh air. Yeah, the forwardness, the desire that they have to be like, look, I'm here, and I'm. They're almost going, look, I demand to play. I demand to be one of the first names on the sheet, and that desire is evident on the pitch, as you know clearly, because it was Iroegbunam's goal. And Ndiaye's goal from, was it Lindstrom's ball or Mikolenko? Yeah. And okay, Beto, again, relatively new, but he's choosing to maybe step up, knowing that DCL is on his way out. What the hell's going on with Mopé? Chamiti's injured. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah. A lot of people, again, in the comments talking about various different things, Jan. I don't know whether you want to pull some of these up. There's loads watching, over 300. Red Smoke's joined.
Do appreciate it, guys.
I've always liked Everton. Thank you, mate. Hit the subscribe button.
Honestly, I've always liked Arsenal to an extent, because when I lived down south, my best friend at school was an Arsenal fan. So, and Highbury's an old school thing. There are some things, clubs and teams that yeah. Thanks for joining us. We do. Oh, where's Ryan gone?
I'm just sorry.
Okay.
Loads of people have just subscribed. Smash that subscribe button for us, guys. 300 watching. And if you're watching on X, come over to YouTube. Support us, because, we don't want to be disheartened by people aren't subscribing. They just sit on X watching us. Sorry,
do you think it is worth touching that there is the potential, the possibility that by the end of the transfer window we could see 1 or 2 additions, certainly if we're going to see DCL go out? Because for me, there is the element of cutting off the dead weight, but we do need to have a competitive squad in as much as possible. So we need to be streamlined, ruthless, cutthroat, and if that means
the squad's really small though, Jan. It's so threadbare. You feel like another injury in like on the wings at left back or centre. Really difficult. The new signings have got to come good. My first impressions was that Lindstrom is going to need a long time. My second impression is Ndiaye is ready to start games in the Prem. I think he needs to be playing. He's got natural talent.
I don't think Lindstrom has the physicality of the Premier League demands.
No, it's just up to speed. He hasn't played a lot of football and had a full pre-season. We can't write him off just yet. There was a lad behind screaming in the park end saying, "Oh, I've seen enough of him after 30 minutes to know he's shit." And I was thinking, shut up. It's like his first appearance in Goodison. Let's not be harsh. I didn't think O'Brien was any better than Michael Keane, if I'm being honest with you. I couldn't tell the difference between the two of them. I didn't think he was tested. I'd like to see him be more proactive and win the ball back, but they just did what they had to do at central defence.
Sorry, what do you expect from a young lad that, okay, yes, he's played top tier Leon, but he knows that he's come into a very shaky situation. He's filling the shoes of okay.
It was fine.
Sorry.
It was fine. It was fine. He just wasn't tested. There was nothing to report. They weren't really tested. They were very comfortable. Everton were very comfortable, but Doncaster had a couple of moments where they should have scored that corner.
So were you that guy in the park end? The guy in the park end you were talking about, was it about Lindstrom or Beto? Or because Red Smoke's just asked, do you guys rate Beto? Now, for me, I've seen a lot of people talk about, he's got the physicality and he's got the forward thinking, but then also he's a bit like a headless chicken, or that he doesn't have directional finesse.
He's been really unfair to him, Jan. When he's came on in a lot of games, we've been 2-0 down, 1-0 down, chasing, or we've been winning and just needed someone to run around a bit, harry the centre half, and see the game out. We haven't actually seen him start a lot of games, and actually, what is the game plan to get this guy who's clearly got pace, strength? He can trap a ball. He's got decent passing. You can. The only thing, which is the most important thing, is the finishing. But I think when you're desperate for something to happen and you try too hard, you kind of can overcompensate for it. And I think when he gets in those good areas last season, he was skying them because he's so desperate to do it. Just composure with his finishing, and he did that tonight.
Yeah.
He did that.
And there were a few times like again, I don't necessarily want to open up this can of worms simply because he didn't play today. But Doucouré, he didn't play, did he?
No, and we did miss him, in all honesty.
Is that he's been up and down because he's been played slightly, not necessarily out of position, but in a tactics that he's just he was desperate for goals at one point as well. What are you laughing at?
He's laughing at me saying trap a ball. The thing with DCL is, on his day, he can bully a centre half, he can jump really high and chest it down, but there really isn't any game to him. He doesn't beat players, his finishing's shite, his pace is gone, his touch is okay, but Beto, there's kind of like a rawness there that you feel like something's going to happen. DCL still got a part to play, but everyone's talking about DCL.
Is that immaturity then? Because Wormy Spoon says there was a chance, I maybe missed this, where Beto, all he had to do was make a simple pass. He decided to try and dribble through three people. Now, I've seen that before, but you see that of a lot of players.
He wanted to make something happen because he was so frustrated because he wasn't getting handed a lot of chances. And then the chance he did get was, he scored. There was a chance where it was crossed beautifully from the right. I think it was Ashley Young who got booed on by some fans. And he just didn't connect, and he was so frustrated. He looked frustrated, but Beto for me has a rawness to him, and he will. I want to persist with him. Calvert-Lewin, I just think he's not a natural goal scorer really, and why are we persisting with this guy who's like doesn't want to sign a contract, wants to run it down? He knows the financial predicament at the club. Calvert-Lewin, if he had any respect, he'd sign a new contract, maybe a 3-year deal with a release clause for a reasonable fee. Prove it.
Oh, Ryan's gone. Okay. Well, if he comes back and rescues it, I mean, he was about to probably reach the climax of a very good point about talking what we need to say. It'd be nice to see more physicality. Sorry. Oh, hey, it's okay. You're back.
I hate it when you've got like Wi-Fi on your phone. It starts connecting to some random one person's Wi-Fi. I'm like, no.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't really got anything else to add off the top of my head unless there's questions and stuff. But
no. Well, a lot of not very much liking the prospect that Doucouré is going to be starting on Saturday. We had our Arsenal fan wishing us the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amanda's saying DCL doesn't win headers. He did score that goal against Liverpool, remember? An iconic finish from the corner, but not a lot of... So many headers last season where they were put on a plate for him and he's like missing them, and then he's like frustrated with himself. It's just so annoying. And Wormy's right about McNeil. He stole that goal and he did play a good pass today, so you've got to give him credit. But I can understand the frustration because he often so reluctant to use his right foot when the pass is on or the little move.
And then the weird thing is, though, sometimes he's got this strange, determined, and also like he'll have a moment of brilliance where he will take it and do something and push forward 20, 30, 40 yards. Like,
He loves driving inside into no man's land, though, doesn't he? You know, he's not the kind of winger that I really want to see, which is, you know, get down the byline and cross it in or cut it in and score. Yeah, and I've said all I want to say on that game. I think, you know, Dyche couldn't lose. He went with it, couldn't win, sorry. That made sense. If he lost, he was in trouble. If he won, everyone expects it. Put a strong team out, gave some minutes to a few players. Doncaster had moments, but we rode through them. 3 decent goals. First half was a bit poo. Second half was decent, and then Bournemouth will be completely the opposite, because Bournemouth will know that Everton press us and defenders. The fullbacks aren't going to get forward. The midfield's got no creativity, and you know, if you stop that, stay positive, Ryan. We've won a game. Stay positive. Stay positive.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, John sums it up rather eloquently. First half crap. Second half okay. Well, okay.
We do need an on to Amanda. We need a player different on that right who can just run past someone to the byline and cross it in. But I've got a feeling Roman Dixon could possibly develop into someone who's got that energy.
No, I'm sorry, Ryan. Wait, you think Roman Dixon, a player who's actually been signed as a young player that shows promise, is going to push on and be anything? Sorry, yes, we've kept him. We're going to sell him now, and then in 3 years, he's going to be at some league-winning side. Dixon, don't you read the script?
They know that Dixon's good. They've been watching him. They've had him for 8 years, since he was 11, I think. So, you know, he's come through the ranks, and he's the type of right back that we want to see. Tenacious, fast, willing to drive forward. I'm really excited about him. He needs to be in and around the team. If it's 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there, coming on.
I understand this. What's going to happen is he's going to go out on some sort of 2-year loan, or we're going to sell him with an option to buy for some pathetic thing. Come on.
He'll go on loan, and Ashley Young will be starting next week against.
We'll end up pissing away money on like something like Denzel Dumfries after he's had some injury or something like that, or Tariq Lamptey. We'll go for the player that we should have bought a long time ago. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, now just very quickly, Blue Nose WKD Dublin, thank you so much. One of our regulars. So many regulars today. Shout out to Eugene. Shout out to Gary Coffee Bum, Wormy, David B, Lila, Flashy Original, John Morris, Connor, Peter Collins in there. Sorry if I've missed you. There's been
no. Don't distract. Wormy's on my side here. Right? He literally picked Coleman and Young before him today. It's like, come on. We could have you.
No, he wasn't. He was going to integrate Dixon, but you know, he needed to bring Coleman off probably before, and he needs to protect Dixon for the weekend if he sees him as we don't know, he might see him as the right back. He might see him and want to protect him, and he played against Spurs. But Eugene's just read my next thing. I was just going to say thank you, Blue Nose WD. Said it's great to have you back, Jan. He is still here. We are short-staffed at the moment, but we're doing our best. The final thing we'll talk about, if that's okay, guys, 350 people watching, and if you're on X, come over to YouTube, smash the subscribe button for us, turn notifications on. If you like this show this much and you like what we're doing, you can see we need some funds for certain things. Jan looks like he's got pins and needles in the background. Certain people haven't got equipment that is needed, and you become a VIP member.
And also, again, I will offer my services. If you would like to donate to the channel, if I can offer my services in kind, I will build PCs for you.
Yes, we'll do that, or we'll clean your garden. We are grateful for all the VIP members. It is a glorified donation. You do get fancy badges next to your name and priority in the comments, but we really appreciate it. Eugene saying, Orel Mangala, this is the final thing we're going to talk about. Everton today, apparently, reportedly, according to L'Equipe in France, have agreed a deal, Jan, to sign Orel Mangala, the 22-capped Belgian international defensive midfielder. He was at Nottingham Forest for 2 seasons, making 20 and 21 appearances in the league before joining Lyon on... I've memorized this. Why are you fucking laughing at me? Joining
I'm laughing because it's very Everton to, forgive me because I don't want to pass comment on this lad, especially if he wants to join us, but it would be so Everton to just downgrade from Onana to this guy, Belgian defensive midfielder. Ba-bum, ba-bum. I mean, come on. And then somehow we're £20 million out of pocket.
No, so let me continue, but that was absolutely hilarious. He's been capped 22 times for Belgium, including 7 times this year. So he is in and around the same team as Onana. He's not necessarily understudy, although he generally was not playing before Onana. Defensive midfielder, out and out defensive midfielder. He went to Lyon on loan, and then they've signed him for 15 million with which was the option, which can rise to 30 million. Now, the dodgy thing about this is John Textor, the guy who's trying to buy Everton, owns Lyon. Already sold us O'Brien, but he's now loaning us a player he's just signed in the same window.
Wait, did you see earlier when I was on the pre-stream thing, I said, in a moment of madness this morning, I had a notification on my phone and I decided to buy a lucky dip for the Euro Millions, and I'm yet to check my ticket. And if it's the proposed, whatever it is, £80 million jackpot, I've said that I would donate half of that money so that Everton can buy a fucking player before the transfer window.
Just finishing the point I'm making. Isn't it funny? We're loaning, the guy who wants to buy Everton is loaning a player from his other club to us. A player who's just signed. Apparently, we've got a buy option for 40 million euros next season. So we're trying to make it look like it's legit when actually, it's a load of poo. We'll probably sell him on the cheap next season to us on a free transfer or something suspicious. And then the multi-club model will get banned by FIFA pretty soon after when they realise that he's using Lyon to bring players over. But defensive midfielder, and we need another CDM. We need someone in there, a ball winner. You've got to have options off the bench, and in games where we're tired. You looked at the Spurs and Brighton games. We were desperate for someone to come in to replace the two of them. They've put me in the dark, which is telling me it's time to get things. We'll come back to that when he signs, or if he signs, we'll discuss that more. But Sambo's saying there's a tornado in the background. Get to the basement quick. Yeah, it's due to lighting, but it thinks it's because the green screen. Is that the green screen? Is it?
Look, stop criticizing my setup. In an ideal world,
they love your t-shirt.
What?
They love your t-shirt. A lot of comments about your t-shirt.
It is a classic reprint, like it's a reprint of the old one. It's got like the copyright nonsense under the bottom and all that kind of crap. Jurassic Park.
And the retro flags are very popular. Lila likes them.
That flag is actually an original one from that were given out for the 1995 cup run, I believe. Yes.
Lila's asking why I didn't get the train. I drove for the convenience and take Basil, my brother, as well.
And also, there's a very real chance that you could have got to the train station afterwards, and the train would have been delayed for an hour.
Yeah, if and Neil Mopay getting a load of abuse on his way back to South Manchester. Gobshite. Can I comment on that? Will I get cancelled?
I feel it's a bit strange that I have to remind you, but this is your channel.
I know, but you're a co-host, and I don't want to disrespect you. Listen, I think the Neil Mopay thing. This guy is a wanker. I mean, I don't think I've ever used this language on this show, but it is 10:30. He is the biggest gobshite I've ever seen in Evertonshire, and I'm disgusted that this guy actually plays for us. Paid 50 million quid for Brighton, who then go and use that money to go and sign wonderful players. He played a whole season at Everton under Lampard, scored 1 goal, goes on loan to Brentford. Now, whilst at Brentford, bear in mind, Everton gave them very, very favourable terms on his contract. He celebrates a goal scored by Lewis Dunk against Everton, equalising. What a dickhead. Then in this incident in the train station, 2 wrongs are not making a right here. The fans are bang out of order because there's a draw. You've got to draw the line between criticism. We criticise, but we pay our money to go and watch. And we are diehard fans, and we never take it too far. Although I did call Mopay a gobshite just then. So I made an exception. But generally, did you want to interject there? Sorry.
No, I was just going to say that I don't want to. Basically, what it sums up is that there may or may not be these sorts of clauses in the contract. You would expect so. There is conduct and behaviour becoming a representative of a business or an organisation.
Moyes would have fined him.
Sorry?
Moyes would have fined Neil Maupay for his behaviour.
Yeah. Now, and David Moyes, regardless of what you think of him, is respected and regarded in the game as a good man and as an honest and an upright man. Like, even if we might have done, okay, generally. Now, it's not about strictness. It's not about singling a player out. But I'm sorry, regardless, there are ways in which you do things, and what he is doing is not upholding any of the values of what we as supporters demand of Everton Football Club. And
I don't actually think I got to finish the point there.
Sorry.
We just jumped to Maupay. What the fans did was disgusting, because you have to draw the line between criticism and anger and also just abuse. It's just unnecessary, and I didn't like it. I cringed. I really didn't like watching it at all. However, what I will say, these guys are paid a lot of money. They can expect people to get angry and annoyed with them, and people are going to lose their heads, especially drunk people. But the main issue for me was that Neil Maupay decided to make a thing of it and to try and call out Everton fans, to generalise. And my answer back to Neil, I agree with you that it was wrong to be abusive. But Neil, in what other job are you allowed to get paid £75,000 a week and be not able to do your job? And also celebrate goals. So in what job can you celebrate the misfortune of your employed in public? He is in a glass house and someone needs to smash that house. He needs to be bombed out, because yes, he's calling us out. That was wrong. But you, Neil Maupay, are in no position to say anything, because you have done multiple things and you are a wind-up merchant. And I don't want players like that representing us.
Oui, peut-être en français, ta gueule.
I think on that bombshell, I best get home. But there's nearly 400 people watching. Thank you.
Oh. Yeah, no, but to be fair, as I said to Chad before, there's a lack of foresight at the club, because somebody at the club should have said, hey, we need to manage this. Somebody at the club should have said, hey, we need to manage the situation of the players departing before Anthony Gordon went and Yerry Mina's outside. Somebody needs to. I mean, Richarlison comes over and gives his shirt. That gesture is exactly the kind of thing that he goes to his old club, and he knows that he's still loved there. And maybe he gets in shit with Spurs, but they also know that he's not fully integrated there either. And maybe it's a poor signing on their part, and they realise that we got better.
He's a small fish in a big pond, whereas at Everton he was,
Yeah, but basically, again, I've said it, and I don't like criticising pointlessly my club, our club. We want to love the players. We want to celebrate. We want to think that we've all got things in common. We want to be on here talking about how smashing Doncaster 5-0, 3-0 by half time, where we could bring on a load of youngsters in the second half and only score 2 goals, was amazing. And I can't wait to get to the next home game at Goodison, because really we can push on this season. And I'd like to think about what we could try out, or maybe we could buy or get in some players in January. No. We're just literally scraping the barrel at the moment, and I know it's early days, but there's nothing there's no cohesiveness that somebody says at the club. This is Everton. We've got back and forth over takeovers with Friedkin and the various other groups. We've been left from pushed from pillar to post. We're not informed. Okay, now it's not our responsibility, but we are the stakeholders. Now, people like Mashiri, owners of football clubs, you're very much a capitalist, and I get it, but the Crouch Report, we are custodians. Fans make the football club. We define the culture. We define the ethos. We give our custom to make it the business that it is. And I hate the fact that any individual or board or group gets to freely prioritize their personal gain over the continued success, safety, or consistency in running a football club. Now, when you thought, oh, he's reluctant to go because he wants the ongoing concern of an operating of a stadium, I'm sorry, somebody needs to step in and say there is fundamental damage being done to Everton Football Club by people who are not responsibly discharging their duties. Now, it's resulted in potentially, we were signed off by an auditor that approved our accounts, and then we're dragged over the coals multiple times for points deductions. Now, at what point does it benefit football in this country, or the league, or the players, or the fans to get to constantly screw us over for that? Now, and then you have people in the club who seem to be going, oh, well, I'll get promoted, I'll get another job, I'll get this handshake. I'm not naming individuals. I'm just saying that that is the only explanation when you end up with situations that are so poorly managed that it's just literally as if somebody's deciding what is the worst thing we could do here to fuck it up.
And on that bombshell, folks, I think it's time to close the show. That was a good Jan rant. We went from Neil Mopo
an
to
hour. People were waiting for the train, even if it's a handful. You know what? Why don't you actually say, hey, look.
Oh, yeah, that's the best point, Jan. They were kept behind to let these people come on.
Put them on the train. Put the fans on the train. Buy them some sandwiches or something like that, or give them some programs. Send one of the non-playing staff to go. You know what, lads? Like, we really appreciate you coming all this way. Or we're sorry we waited. We make 10 minutes, but here, or while you've waited an hour on the train. But you know what? Why don't you just, if you've got any kids, bring them up and maybe talk to the players. Something. Show us that you give a fuck.
I didn't like the video. I cringed. I couldn't watch it. But they were kept behind. They were to let the players on. I don't understand why the players are on the train. People can debate that all they want. I thought we got the coach or whatever. But yeah, they got the train. They were discussed in advance. But it's the fact, the way it was all handled, and the fact Neil Mope was waiting for something like that. Waiting for something to try and kind of make a mockery of the club. I just really dislike this bloke. Jan, let's wrap things up. And it's your show, so
yeah. I really don't want to discredit it. It was a great result, but I don't want it to be papering over the cracks. And we need some acknowledgement from the club that are people just going, oh, we'll see if I still got my job in a few weeks when the new owners take over. Well, how about you demonstrate that you're worth keeping? That kind of stuff. Do you know what I'm saying?
We'll be back, hopefully, with some transfer news tomorrow, and I look forward to it. Jan, good night. I know you've got a lot on.
Yes.
You had a good rant.
Good night, God bless, all that kind of stuff. It's good night.
People really enjoyed the show. Give us a thumbs up in the comments if you've enjoyed the show. Let's see how many we get.
Yeah, what do you want me? Shall I just thank you very much for joining us, guys?
Thank you very much.
Onwards and upwards. Saturday, Goodison. Yeah.
Good night, Peter. Good night. Good night, Eugene. Wormy,
Good night,
David. Thank you, guys. Thank you.